which means it's time for the club. We got my two co-hosts back from trips, fun trips. Clay traveling with the Knights of Degen in Nashville, hanging out with George Kittle. We got Andy out in LA at an NFT conference. And of course, all kinds of crazy stuff going on in the world of the NBA as we try to figure out what's going on with the playoff picture. And of course, as well, Lamar Jackson, who has now requested a trade, all today on the club. Let's do it. If I can press my intro button correctly. All right. Oh man, I am all out of sorts. Now what's this view? Goodness gracious.
At least with the perfect intro music for like little
for a little what?
Little technical difficulty.
Yeah. It's funny how I have like the way it works in like the production room or whatever on StreamYard is I still have all of these old clips and stuff. And I should probably just like remove some of them, but like I'll accidentally hit the pack hype clip every once in a while. It's a real like nostalgic graveyard of things we used to do on the show.
Back in the good old days.
Yeah, exactly. And there's random things like this. So, you never know when you're going to need that.
It's content gold right there.
Well, yeah, let's hear about it. So, Clay, it was 2 weeks ago because we didn't do a show last week, and I wanted to hear your recap. But you guys were out with Knights doing. Was it March Madness related? Was that the specific thing?
Yeah. We were down in Nashville this year. We did Vegas last year, which was a great time. But we wanted to be in a state that was a little bit more friendly to the mobile sports betting world. So Nashville was a perfect spot. And we had a blast. We did a Friday night party with One of None, which is Deshaun Kaiser's company. And they're headquartered out of Nashville, so the gallery space. And then Saturday we took over Almost Friday Sporting Club, which is Friday Beers IRL location. Just an incredible sports bar they built and opened last summer downtown, and took it over for the day. Had a blast, hosted a beer pong tournament, watched Tennessee beat Duke, which was lovely, aside from my Duke futures, which was an emotional hedge anyways. But yeah, Friday night we had Kittle and TJ Hockenson pull up at the party, which was awesome. And kind of love when these things just kind of come together like that.
So what was the deal? Were Kittle and Hockenson there specifically for the party? Did they just happen to be in town? I mean, how did that work out?
Yeah, so I've learned that Kittle is a Nashville resident in the offseason, which makes sense with the tight end university stuff that he does. So he's like, I think pretty full time there was what he said. So it's cool. One of Deshaun's friends from, I'm not sure where, but he runs like a sports management company in Los Angeles, and Kittle's dad coached him playing high school football. So he was out in Nashville this weekend and was already coming to the party, and I guess was just like texted with Kittle, who was out with Hockenson, I guess just in town, and was like, hey, like, they were like, I guess like down the street at dinner or something. And it's like, yo, there's this cool party going on with like this like sports company and my friend Deshaun's company, and there's like art and beer and basketball like come through, and they're like, sounds great. So they just pulled up, and it was like, I mean, it's everything that you see, like the clips of Kittle in particular and Hockenson as well. They're just, I mean, it's exactly like how they are, man. It's just like they want nothing more than just like hang out and drink a beer and just like bro out. It's so funny. Like they could have been any random motherfucker in the whole place, except for they're obviously a little taller and longer hair. But yeah,
I mean, I know Kittle's a goofball because I've seen all the interviews and stuff. I guess I haven't seen a ton of stuff involving Hockenson. I guess in my head, he's a little bit more quiet, reserved, at least than Kittle. Is that a fair characterization?
Yeah, that's my takeaway. I mean, it's hard to judge anyone in like a setting like that, especially professional athletes or, guys that are, also want to kind of lay low. But I thought it was good. I think it was a fun vibe. I think they felt comfortable, seemed to be having a good time, and it was cool to host them and show them. It was a great setup. We had like our art all over the walls for our collection on the Degen Sports Collective, and our first drop called the Tip Off. And then we had a big projector with the basketball going, open bar, bunch of wings. It was a good time. Good old Nashville party.
I got to continue to give you credit, Clay, because, there's lots of blood in the NFT streets these days. And the Knights, man, you guys just keep throwing parties. You're shipping your app. You guys are just like, who cares? You're just building, man. You just continue.
We're living, man. Yeah, that's been our MO is kind of heads down, keep grinding, have fun with it. We got maybe I'll tease some NFT NYC news later in the call as well.
Wow. Yeah, we are coming up on that. Jack, welcome to the stream. We're going around the horn here. Wanted to hear about Andy's trip to LA. It looks like you're back from LA, right, Andy?
Yes, I'm back. I got back on Saturday. So literally, Allie started feeling sick on Sunday. Monday morning, I get up at like 6 a.m. to catch my flight. And I'm like, I don't know if I feel so good. I get to the airport, my nose starts running. Fly the whole way there, just like progressively feeling worse and worse the entire flight. And then I just sat basically in hiding in my hotel room for the first 60 hours or so of being in LA. And so luckily my room got upgraded from my from Amex, and so I had like a decently nice hotel room. But I basically missed like Monday night, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and then did stuff Thursday and Friday, and then came back on Saturday. So it was a shorter trip for me as far as like hanging out with people and stuff, but it was good. I had a good time in 2 days that I was out doing stuff.
What did you guys have any set stuff you guys were doing with Tessera or Escher, or were you just kind of like going to parties and meeting up?
Just recording podcast content with these. So it was nothing crazy. We did have a dinner that I missed on Tuesday night. That was like the team. We have a bunch of team members out in LA, and then like some artists and stuff. And so I missed that. But mostly what I missed was just like hanging out. And D's always rents with like a bunch of his friends, like a really big Airbnb. And so this Airbnb this time was totally a place where they film porn. Like I do not have a question in my mind that this was a house that when not being rented on Airbnb is for porn. Let me
throwing a towel down on the couch before you put on anything kind of thing.
I mean, honestly, it was like we do some wet wipes or something. So I'm gonna show you my phone, so this might not be the highest fidelity.
Is this porn?
No, yeah, this is just straight up porn. No, so this is like the living room. I'm sure you can't really see that well, but it's like a fake black leather couch.
Yeah.
Whatever. It seems normal, but if you look up here, that's another TV. And so I'll show you from another angle. There was this weird little TV on the ceiling, and so what we were saying is that's for the talent while they're doing their job on the couch to be able to look up and see how it's
their
going.
own angle.
Yeah, to get a little.
Sweat their beds.
Like, honestly, I don't know what else it could be because there was a massive TV there. Like, I don't know what the fuck this little TV would be for.
All right, I like that theory. That reminds me. I had talk about LA like VRBO porn. The house that they were staying in on Succession, the 3 kids out in LA. Yeah. Did you guys see that? Like that house was unreal.
My college house, last 2 years of school in Chapel Hill, we lived in this like big house down Franklin Street, which is like the main strip of all the bars. And this was like an 80s porn house. It was the most fucked up design of all time because you had like a main section of the house, you had an apartment to the side, and then they had like 3 different additions. And we were getting walked through by our super when we signed into the place. He was literally like, yeah, the owner of this house used to like shoot like amateur porn flicks back in the 80s. And that's why you have to like walk through certain rooms to get to the other room. Cause there was this like this out of place master bathroom that had a double head shower and a clawfoot tub that just did not belong in a college house. But yeah, it's wild when you can like look at these like architectural stuff and be like, that kind of, I don't know, that doesn't add up.
Yeah.
There's only one answer to that.
Something's a little weird here.
Something's a little off here.
Jack, how are you doing? It was 2 weeks ago that we had just had the Lamar, I believe it was the non-exclusive tag had just gotten slapped on him. And now yesterday we hear he's formally requesting a trade. It does seem like you're coping via StreamYard naming devices. I am speaking with Lamar Jackson's agent right now. What's your take? And congratulations on the gig. I know he was reluctant to get an agent.
Yes, thank you.
Has the NFL sent out a memo yet about your eligibility?
No, I'm in the clear. I'm actually paying him. So whatever contract he gets, instead of an agent fee, I owe him an extra 5%, but it's all for content. So, it'll net out, I think, in the end. Lamar Jackson got requested a trade the day I got engaged. So, what are they? There's probably some old fashioned saying of
some ring metaphor there.
Yeah. So in and out, I guess back to porn. Now we're talking about, but yeah. Lamar, a lot of Baltimore people think he's still going to end up in Baltimore. I'm so excited for him to be gone. Like, I'm so hyped for him so I can root for him in a place that plays to his abilities, gets him weapons, and people will remember how he's one of the best players in the world.
Wow. It sounds like you're along the stages of grief now. I think you're in the reconciliation stage, it sounds like.
Yeah. I mean, I've been a Ravens fan literally my entire life. They began the year I was born. But I don't live in Baltimore anymore. My parents aren't there. I really have like very limited ties to the Ravens. So I don't know. I think I'm going to go the Gen X route, or what's the young generation?
I think the Zoomers is what we're calling
The Zoomers.
Yeah.
Well, was Zoomers just an extension of Gen Z?
Yeah, I mean, Jag, you're sounding like a real boomer not knowing what a Zoomer is.
Right, that's a good point. Anyways, I'm gonna be like those young bucks and just like, I'm a Lamar fan. I don't need to be a Ravens fan.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but I guess the question is now is, do we think a trade can actually get done? Because the Ravens had said they had already been like listening to calls and stuff. And it's like, no one wants to give up 2 firsts and pay this big of a guaranteed contract. I mean, do you really think it's going to get done, or are we heading toward a holdout situation? That's what I fear.
Well, the annoying part, and what everyone fears, especially Ravens fans, is like, this is just going to be never ending, right? Like, people thought the decision to tag or not tag or sign was going to be the end. And then it was in this negotiation period. And that, like, we might not know until week 1. And what will we even know by week 1? There's something funky going on. Like, this is Lamar Jackson. Like, he's worth 2 first-round picks. They just traded it. Even like, there's people who are like, yeah, but if you negotiate with Lamar, like, you're just doing the Ravens job. It's like, every NBA team takes meetings with every free agent, even when they know they're not going to sign. Like, you're telling me no one even wants to fucking speak to him? Like, just have a 10-minute conversation with him? Like, come on, what are we doing here? So I don't know. It's a weird, crazy situation, and we'll see how it plays out.
Well, I want to circle back to the Lamar stuff, but we got Jennings in the club, now officially a dad ×2. I have seen the photos on Twitter. Incredibly cute. Congratulations, Jennings. You did it. You had sex for the 2nd time, buddy.
Hopefully there's a 3rd, huh? Gonna have to wait a little bit on that. Hopefully there's not a 3rd kid.
So yeah.
So introduce everyone to the newest club member. What's our guy's name?
Oliver David Jennings. We're unsure if we're going to call him Oliver or Ollie. Gracie calls him Ollie. So, yeah, he's a stud, born on St. Patrick's Day, and everything went really well. The second birth process was just so smooth, and we just feel very blessed that everything went really well. So appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, looks like a total cutie there. Did Gracie, because I've heard of this element with the big or the older sibling where they're kind of territorial or feeling like, did you guys have to do the gifts for Gracie? How is she handling having another little one around?
I'll send you some videos. She is obsessed. She's obsessed with babies. Even now, her favorite thing to do is to watch babies like laugh and play with dogs and toys on YouTube. So she's obsessed with babies. When she wakes up, the first thing she wants to do is go see Oliver. She says, baby, baby, Ollie, Ollie, right away. So she's super into babies. We'll see if that lasts forever, but right now it's going really well. And Gracie's been an amazing big sister.
Love to hear it. And are you doing everything you can? I mean, that's what everyone wants to know right now. How are you managing, blasting off on Underdog while also now being a father of 2?
Yeah, things are going pretty well. Trying to do everything I can. And yeah, things are going well. We are really set up. We're fortunate to have family. We have the night nurse again. So just feel very blessed to have friends and family to help out. And yeah, it takes a village to raise kids, and we're certainly taking advantage of that. And yeah, I'm trying to hustle and grind. And it's also nice to have some slow time. Infants are, after having a toddler now, it's like the very, very beginning, like the newborn infant stage. It's really easy. I mean, they just sleep and poop and eat. I mean, it's I remember how overwhelmed I was initially with Gracie, but they really just don't do anything. So it's not that challenging. And if you need to do something, you can put the baby and down, and I don't know.
There you go.
Gracie's more challenging than than Oliver at this point in time. I imagine that'll change here somewhat soon. I think at 3 weeks, the babies kind of wake up a little bit more and show some more personality, and we'll get more fussy. But yeah, so far pretty good.
Well, that is great to hear. Glad to have you swing by. It wouldn't be Peter Jennings without coming by the club. Very close to just having had a new addition to the family. So this feels very on brand for you.
Yeah, it's exciting. I'm happy to be with you guys.
Any other? I am going to get to a question in the chat about the Lakers. We're going to talk some NBA for sure. Did anyone else have any takes on the Lamar Jackson situation here, as Jack has now gone MIA? Andy, Pete, Clay.
I mean, I definitely think it's very interesting because, I mean, obviously there's some level of collusion by the owners. I think it'd be impossible for there not to be. Like, you could say, oh, none of the owners want to establish the precedent of, this is just how we do quarterback contracts now with, all of the with all the money guaranteed. But still, game theoretically, one owner who thinks their team is good and just needs a better quarterback should be like, yeah, but fuck all that. I want to win the championship this year. And so, sure, we don't want to set the precedent, but I want to set the precedent of winning the Super Bowl. So it's very interesting. I think that he'll probably end up somewhere else if I had to guess. I think that eventually a team will bite. I think as we get closer and closer, especially, I'm not totally sure how it works, but I think after the draft, some teams who can't currently submit trades can, or basically can't currently sign him because they don't have a draft pick for this year.
Right.
And so I think that we'll start to see that market come online more after the draft, would be my guess. But I think he'll end up somewhere that's not Baltimore. It seems like, as much as Baltimore can say, we really want to work with Lamar and, we still want to figure out something, it seems like he's kind of moved on a little bit.
What's your take, Pete? Where do you think Lamar ends up? How do you think the situation ends?
The obvious place to me is the Colts. That just seems like such a good fit for Lamar and the team. And I hope that it works out. I think there's a lot of range. There's a big range of outcomes in terms of what can happen this specific year. It seems very unlikely if nothing happens, and he's on the Ravens, I can't imagine he'd play, right? Do you guys think he'd play a snap? It doesn't seem like it.
That's what I was saying, that I think it'd be a holdout situation for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So to me, hopefully he's on a team. I think the Colts are my favorite landing spot. I know there's a lot of love for the Falcons. I don't think that's a horrible idea either. And yeah, there's definitely a lot of stuff going on. I wish he had an agent. I think that he would benefit a lot from that. And it is a complicated situation, but rooting for Lamar, he seems like a great guy. And obviously he's an electric player to watch. And yeah, it's a tricky situation from if you're a team, because he is a really talented player, but athleticism is going to wane off at some point in time. And if he loses that electric speed, is he an average quarterback? Is he below average? And I think I would guess he'd be below average, which makes it hard to want to, ink him to a super long-term deal. That being said, right now he's clearly an elite quarterback. So it's really hard. I don't know what the right answer is if you're a team, but I'm rooting for him.
I love the Colts one does seem the funnest to me too. If they could get that done before the draft and the Colts get Lamar and the Ravens reboot the franchise with Anthony Richardson, that just seems super, super fun to me.
Yeah, I love that.
I'm ready to break out the tinfoil hat.
What's that?
There's too much smoke around how it's a 26-year-old MVP, as Jack said, the fact that no teams have been talking with him. This whole situation seems to be really build off the fact that he doesn't have an agent. There's just a lot of iffiness around it to me. So I'm here for I think there's definitely, I'm with Andy too. There's definitely an element in my opinion that they want to kind of draw a line in the sand, and we'll see how long that holds. But Colts will be spicy. It'll be fun.
Jack, Tyler in the chat really wants you to see this message. He asked a question about the Lakers, but then he says, Jack, you're lying to yourself. You know you're mad about Lamar. I did sense just like a tinge of cope during that monologue. Do you want to address Tyler's claim here? Oh, you don't have audio right now. This is my preferred way to consume Jack. He thinks he's talking, but no one can hear him. Jack, we'll let you figure this thing out. What's going on with the Lakers too? Because Tyler is asking this. There's I know ESPN Daily Pod did a deep dive audit today. I was listening to that. LeBron comes back miraculously after seeing the what he called the LeBron James of feet doctors. But apparently this foot doctor is still anonymous, and now he's back out there. Are the Lakers, because I need to know for drafting my dance teams, like what is the deal with the Lakers right now?
You got to beat the Thunder, it looks like.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. I think that they're probably a team who, if they, make it in, there's just some non-zero chance that they can get hot. And, when you have LeBron and AD, you can on any given night beat anyone. But it kind of feels like they're just a little bit still too far gone and kind of discombobulated to really make noise. It's my general take, but also at the same time, there is some very small chance that it's LeBron and AD and they just hit a different level in the playoffs and they have a decent supporting cast around them. But yeah, I don't know. I'm curious what Jennings thinks.
Yeah, I think I've been bearish on the Lakers, hit the future last year on them missing the playoffs, super bearish on them this year again with Russell Westbrook. And I thought the trade they made was brilliant. They got pieces that fit really well around Anthony Davis and LeBron. LeBron's health is now the big question, but if they're fully healthy and LeBron, can capture kind of what he was in the middle of the season, they're a very dangerous team. D'Angelo Russell has had his best shooting year. He fits perfectly next to AD and LeBron. Malik Beasley is in the best situation possible, kind of a 3-and-D player. Vanderbilt's been awesome defensively and as a rebounder, which is something else that they need. And then kind of their secondary pieces like a Schroeder, Troy Brown, some of these guys can play decently well off the bench. And the West is really wide open. I think every team has flaws. So, it wouldn't shock me. There's 5 or 6 teams I think could come out of the West, and the Lakers are certainly one of them. They're down that list, but they have a lot of upside if they can stay healthy, and I think they should have a chance to get in. The Mavericks are just absolutely horrific. That's
a spicier combo.
Yeah, they got a win last night. I was actually on the Mavericks with that Pacers starting lineup from a betting perspective, but the Pacers were actively trying to lose, and that's the win that the Mavericks have gotten. They can't rebound at all. Their trade made no sense. They got rid of a player in Dorian Finney-Smith who fits perfectly next to Luka. So pretty bearish on them. The Jazz have gone into tank mode. So I expect the Lakers, Thunder, Pelicans, and then one of those, the Warriors or the Timberwolves, and maybe the Clippers to be fighting in the play-in. So it should be really interesting.
Is my mic working?
You're back just in time to answer a question about Austin Reeves. I saw some short form Austin Reeves content from you the other day. Is he the skeleton key to the Lakers NBA Finals run?
It was crazy that I think Troy Brown is that his name on the Lakers? Was shitting on LeBron. Not actually shitting, but saying that they just play so much differently with him in the lineup. Shout out my guy Ryan Nelson in the chat. I too am holding a T-Wolves future. They've won 4 in a row. I saw them in the Garden against the Knicks. Cat and Gobert are one of the worst duos in net rating, but they've got, I would argue, they probably have one of the strongest starting fives in theory. It's just not playing out great. Gobert also becomes an abomination every postseason, but if they figure out it would work, how to make it work, Conley's the vet, Ant's the star, McDaniels has the length, and then Cat and Gobert. So yeah, I have him at 90-1 to win the West. And I've been adamant that like it's so wide open. Minnesota won in Sacramento last night on the road. Like, could they win that series? And then, I mean, at 90-1, I can start hedging from there. So, yeah, those are my T-Wolves now. I'm hoping to be a part owner with A-Rod after my future cashes.
So are the Clippers just dead now with Paul George hurt?
Yeah, they're trying to act like he could come back. I don't see that happening, but who knows?
Andy, you've been blasting off in the NBA daily streets, right? I've been catching you in the Badge Bros Hoops channel talking shop.
Yeah, it's fun. I actually recently did something pretty cool. For anyone who plays Volume Underdog, I made a Google Chrome extension using ChatGPT. Like I just using ChatGPT, talking to it in plain English, I got it to write me a Google Chrome extension that will mass enter a tournament for you. And so you like basically can just press a button and it'll enter as many, like I have it set to like 15 entries right now. And so it'll just like automatically queue up into the next 15 entries for any tournament.
You're sick.
Which is pretty fun.
And I will say, if you're in the Deposit Kingdom Discord, there's the Badge Bros channel, and then there's the Hoops thread. Within that thread, that extension Andy made is now pinned in there. So if you want to go check that out. Is that like your first like side project or any meaningful thing you've gotten out of ChatGPT, or have you leveraged that for other coding stuff?
We've been using it for work, actually. Not as much for coding, but I'm starting to. I'm just like, basically now whenever I'm going to do something, I try to think, could ChatGPT help me do this better or faster? And like I've written Chrome extensions before, so I have some knowledge of how they work. But there's no way I would have made it as fast as ChatGPT did. Like it took me like maybe an hour. And so I was just like sitting on the couch on a Sunday and got it done. And so I'm trying to just like be more cognizant of that whenever I'm getting started on something, that the first thing I do is talk to ChatGPT for like half an hour and kind of see whether or not it can basically do it for me. And most of the time it can.
Yeah, what is that? Because I haven't spent a lot of time, but I went down a ChatGPT rabbit hole the other day because I was trying to think, can I get ChatGPT to make timestamps for me for YouTube videos? Because you can get the transcript and you can post it in. Right now, there's limitations for how much of a transcript I can post. I have to do it in like 14-minute things. And I was really having to warm it up. I was getting kind of close, but I was hitting dead ends. Like, how much like warming up are you actually doing before you kind of get to somewhere you feel good about?
Yeah, I think it kind of depends. Like, I think a big part of it is just like trying to figure out how to prompt it very specifically, as opposed to just like some vague generality of like, hey, I want to do this thing. Like for the Chrome extension, I said, I want you to make a Google Chrome extension. It's going to loop through a bunch of button clicks. Here's each button click in order with kind of the text that's containing it. This one doesn't have unique text, but instead use this ID, whatever, and kind of laid it out. Like it was like a pretty long input.
Yeah.
And then it spit something out. And then you just kind of have to go in and say, no, not quite this, like update this. No, this isn't exactly what I want. When it comes to stuff like, I haven't done it too much as far as like, hey, make a transcript for me or something, or timestamps, where it's a little bit more opinionated on like, hey, process this thing and give me what your thoughts are.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the biggest thing is just like learning to be very specific with it. The other thing that's kind of fun, if anyone likes messing around with Midjourney, is you can ask ChatGPT. You could basically use ChatGPT to make really, really cool Midjourney outputs. And you can be like, give me the description for whatever it is, be extremely descriptive, describe the background, describe this, and it'll give you like a long paragraph thing. And then you throw that into Midjourney and the outputs are normally like really, really high quality.
Interesting. Has anyone else here tried to use ChatGPT for anything productive?
I'm using it all the time. I need to figure out how to leverage it more for content. But one other thing that I think would be super helpful for this group and anyone watching, the Lex Friedman podcast, he just had Sam Altman on, and that was A++++. So For those who don't know, Sam Altman is the founder of OpenAI, one of the most successful entrepreneurs. If I could have lunch or dinner with any one person in the world, he'd be the first person on my list. And I thought it was really, really excellent, the podcast with Lex Friedman. But yeah, it's super helpful. Trying to figure out some stuff to do with sports, trying to figure out content. I definitely think there's a lot of automation and content that'll be really helpful. And yeah, I need help with emails and other things. I still, not very good at prompting ChatGPT relative to where I hope to be, but it's something. I'm kind of in the same boat as Andy, where anything I do, I want to see if ChatGPT can help or assist me. And the Chrome extension is really cool. That's something that we've built a lot of in the past for kind of the fantasy and DFS stuff. And you have my mind spinning, Andy. That's amazing that you built that. That's super cool.
The craziest thing is just how easy it is. Like, I literally didn't have to write a line of code. I just could explain in plain English, like, hey, this isn't working exactly how I wanted. And probably the weirdest thing to experience, like, if you know how to code, and I'm sure there's other parts of ChatGPT that have similar experiences, but this is just the one for me, is when there's a bug and you say, hey, this isn't working, and then it fixes it. It's like it wrote the code, it doesn't work. You say, hey, it's not working, and then it's able to go back and understand why it's not working and then resolve it. And like something about that to me is just like, it's very hard to kind of wrap your mind around, but it's really cool.
I have a question, then I'll get to Tyler's chat. How long do you think it would take Melania Trump to master ChatGPT?
With ChatGPT's help, not that long. That is also something, actually. One thing that I did and that I've seen people talking about is using ChatGPT to get better at prompting ChatGPT, and like literally saying like, what can I do to make my prompts better, and like how can I be more descriptive and like get what I want faster. And like, it's not a joke. Like, that is actually the best way to get good at ChatGPT, is to literally ask it what to do.
That's crazy. It's funny. I was listening to Barry Horse. Are you guys all familiar with Barry Horse?
No.
He was huge in the MLB betting scene starting in 2018. Like he essentially, he's just like some engineer data guy, and he was saying he had like 10% edges on a lot of baseball games, and a lot of the betting markets were kind of like, no, you don't, you're just some arrogant young kid. And then he had these large edges, but he was talking about machine learning and AI and all this fucking shit. It's crazy. It's a crazy world we're living in, that we could, like we used to have. So for me growing up, our ChatGPT was Spark Notes, but it was humans, right? And now these kids can actually plug problems into ChatGPT. Like, I don't use it to cheat, just help me understand stuff. Okay, help me understand what the answer is. Yeah. But it is good. I think it's good for everyone involved.
It is funny too, because obviously like the thread meta on Twitter was really hot for a while, and it feels like it's cooled down a little bit, but the one threads I continue to see pop up are like, these 6 ChatGPT prompts saved my life. Here they are. Like, every thread now that crushes is just AI and ChatGPT related.
Have you guys seen the ones of the guy doing Midjourney prompts where I've seen a few of this where it's like, here's a bunch of stuff done as if Rembrandt made it. Or I saw one that was like World Cup stills if they were different by different directors, and they were like, wow, they were so sick. Let me see if I can find that one. It was a really cool thing.
Explain. You've mentioned Midjourney. What is that specifically for people who don't know?
So Midjourney is explicitly a graph, like an image app. So you give it a prompt, and it will create a picture for you. And so I pay for the pro version of both Midjourney and ChatGPT because like I just think there's like, honestly, very few ways like you'd be better off spending your time right now. Each is like $20 a month, maybe at most. It's really not bad. And so
is
for
Midjourney still locked in Discord?
Yeah. But so when you pay for the pro, you can DM it instead of having to be in their chat in like their Discord. But so with Midjourney, you can say like, I want a picture of a woman walking on the street wearing X, Y, and Z as if it was shot with this sort of camera in the 1930s, and it's raining outside and there's someone in the background doing whatever, and it'll make the picture for you.
It's so, hey, but I want you to expand on saying like those things are the best way for people to spend their time right now. Just getting very familiar how to leverage these, or like what, expand on that.
Yeah, so I think like in general, and not to sound like everyone else, like you were saying on Twitter, the AI think boy threads, but like I do think after using this stuff, and also just how fast it's getting better. Like it's getting better at a rate that is just totally insane. It's just very clear to me that most mundane and like tedious parts of people's jobs we will no longer be doing. And like at least right now, there is a very discernible difference between someone who like recognizes that and is actively using these tools to like speed through different parts of their day that they don't want to deal with or don't have to deal with. And like I've seen a lot of conversations on Twitter about how they think like this is going to really expedite kind of the idea of like single company founders and like a lot of things like that. I think it just like it can like 1,000x your productivity if you are legitimately good at it and you know how to leverage it. And I think it can like open up a lot of doors for you. Like I bet you that there are already people who are getting paid full time to be copywriters who literally don't write a line of copy. And there are also some like reverse lookup tool things now of like, what are the odds this was written in ChatGPT, and they're actually like pretty accurate. But I just think that this stuff is going to continue to kind of change the way we think about white collar work and like the jobs that aren't like manual labor that ChatGPT can't recreate. It's going to be significantly more disruptive for those jobs. Like I've seen some interesting posts from people on Twitter recently as well who are like software developers, and they were like, I didn't really consider the fact, like it's been very jarring to be like, everything that I've been doing, the AI can now do like 95% as good as me after years of practice. And this AI has been out for, 6 months. And so it's like, what's it going to look like in 6 years? And like, I'm not sure I'm going to be writing any code in 6 years. Odds are the more valuable person there will be the person who knows how to tell AI how to make the code they want.
Is there an element for you that's scary, like as a dev, that like one of like you have a skill set that very, very few people have, and that an AI can erase the gap? Because I know that's a thing that a lot of people feel about AI in general is, oh, the thing I do is going to become irrelevant.
I mean, like, I think that's one way to think about it, but to me, it's more just an opportunity. I think it in the same way as crypto. Like I've seen a lot of also dumb comparisons of like, oh, now the AI is big, like crypto is dumb or whatever. Like NKBHD had a dumb tweet about it or whatever. But to me, like it's more just another avenue where there is now going to be this like up and to the right growth for a long time. And like if you can put yourself in a position to be early to that and be taking advantage of it, you'll set yourself up well. And so it's like, think about if you were a banker in 2015, is like you hear about Bitcoin. One option is like, oh shit, my job could be less important in a few years. Another option is to learn about Bitcoin and be more active. And so I try to generally take the approach of just like diving in and trying to embrace it.
Yeah. I need to spend more time with it because I got a little frustrated when I was going for my specific thing, but you could, it's impossible to deny the potential and the upside that it has. What were you going to say, Pete?
One area where I think, because I've seen that a lot, and a lot of people are pivoting from crypto and are now into AI. And we saw like Ryan Carson and all this stuff that like people viewed as cringe. But one area where I think AI is actually accelerating a huge need for blockchain technology is identity and verifying that things are real. Because there's a lot of scary things about this. There's a lot of good things, but one thing that's just been obvious for a while and now is like accelerating in a big way is deep fakes and some of the impersonation stuff. I mean, I'm sure you guys have seen like the Kanye West rapping that is AI generated, and there's a whole bunch of stuff out there that's really interesting. And especially as we get into elections and whatnot, we're going to see just a ton of deepfake videos and impersonations. And to me, that's a huge challenge that's going to be prevalent over the next year, 3 years, 5 years. until we find good solutions. And to me, one of the best solutions is, verifying identity through the blockchain. So there's going to be real use cases for crypto that I think complement AI and vice versa. And I'm curious Andy's perspective, because I think he hit the nail on the head on everything with AI and ChatGPT. And again, can't recommend that podcast enough. Like, they talk about a lot of this stuff, Lex Friedman and Sam Altman.
Yeah,
I
think,
just tracked that one down. Thank you. No,
yeah,
I was just saying.
I think.
Go
Sorry,
You're good.
On the point of like identity stuff, I do think that like it makes sense why Sam is doing two companies, and one is WorldCoin, the eyeball scanning crypto, and the other is AI. Like it adds up. But I saw a really interesting and I thought thoughtful tweet kind of about how crypto and AI can kind of be together and like do things nicely together. And it was basically saying like a really interesting unlock that you can think about for the value of crypto is think about how challenging it would be for an AI to make a bank account, and think about how easy it is for it to make an Ethereum wallet. And like when you think about that, and you can think about crypto as just this, as we continue to like abstract away a lot of the applications and like these like really heavy built things on top of this old infrastructure, crypto can just be this really easy to plug and play kind of money of the internet, money of the AI, and all of that. And I do think that that's like actually a really compelling reason why crypto will be important in a world where you have like AIs that are they're very ephemeral, and like a new chatbot spins up and you speak to it, and if you're trying to speak to that chatbot and get it the bank account, that's going to take a really long time, or get it access to your money. But I could give it the private key to my Ethereum wallet right now. And I don't really know what would happen. I kind of want to give it a private key with like 1 ETH in it and see what happens. But
that's your
ChatGPT.
ChatGPT.
That's way easier.
Yeah. Hey, ChatGPT, run this 1 ETH up to 100 ETH.
100 ETH.
Yeah.
And then return it back to me. Jack, have you? I mean, I bet, Jack, you've had to have thought about AI from a content standpoint, knowing how.
As a content play?
As a content play. I guarantee this has crossed your mind.
Yeah, so we tried it on the podcast. We tried to get a first touchdown score for the Sunday night game, and it spit out Eckler, and he had like 3 carries inside the 5, and he didn't score, which is pretty funny. But so the last time I used it, which now has been a few months, it was like awful lag times, and you couldn't ask it to do anything. I assume, based off what I've seen, like it's already unlocked a ridiculous amount of possibilities.
Yeah, so they've updated it a bit or a lot. The main thing now is they have a paid and an unpaid version, and so with the paid, you can access it as much as you want.
What's the cost?
I think it's $20 a month. And so with the paid as well, you get access to ChatGPT 4, which is the newest system, which is like, it's like too good. So there's ChatGPT 3.5, which you can call all the time. 4 has a pretty heavy rate limit, so I think I can prompt it like 25 times every 3 hours, which is really random amounts, but that's what it is. But with 4, that's where it's gotten to the point where it's like, okay, this can write code for me. Like it's really, really good. 3.5 is very, very good for just like more conversational stuff. Like I've been messing around with like, hey, I like these 5 restaurants and I'm in the mood for Chinese food and I'm in this city. Where should I go? And it doesn't, I've just been like fucking around with that. Not actually while I'm there, but just like I was sitting in a bar with Allie, just doing a bunch of random prompts of that. And like then looking up the place afterwards on Google Maps, and it was giving me like full-blown reviews of like why, based on the places that I said and what it made it similar and stuff. It was honestly crazy.
That's nuts.
Right.
Andy,
so
sounds like you're having a full-blown relationship with ChatGPT.
Yeah, basically I'm like the Joaquin Phoenix movie Her. That's what the mustache is for.
So I would imagine it's like personal assistants, right? Like all the top execs in the world talk about like, or not even top execs, like people have, who are extremely efficient speak to the fact of like, the fact that I could offload some work to these people is insane. I would assume this is the equivalent of a replacement for that. And then do they know you based off Do they know you based off of your web address? Do you log in? Like, how could I get to know this fine chat GPT?
So every chat GPT, when you talk to it, you have threads. And so you can maintain a thread. And
Gotcha.
basically that's like that persists and it has memory of that conversation. And so you can like train an individual thread to kind of do what you want. But what I also just sent in the private chat is something called Lindy.ai. And it is literally a startup that is an AI personal assistant. I'm on the wait list for it. But it like plugs into your email, your calendar. It's honestly crazy. It'll like handle flights, all of that, and basically like as much as you give it, it'll do.
Wow.
And so I'm really excited to try this out because I've been talking about getting an assistant, like basically just like an EA for the company for a while, and it feels like if this is as good as my conversations as ChatGPT have been, it can basically do that instead.
Yeah.
Andy, how close do you think we are to AGI?
I don't know. Probably still a ways away, but probably less of a ways away than we think.
Yeah, that's my view too. I think human beings in general have a tough time understanding exponential growth, and that's what's happening here. And it's just amazing how fast it's moving. I agree that ChatGPT 4 is just such a huge upgrade. Some people even think like it's close to an AGI, and Sam on the pod said that someone said it was an AGI. I don't think it is at this point, obviously, but it's wild how quickly things are evolving. And to me, there's a lot of problems in the world right now, and it's really scary. We've talked about some of the issues in America and just around the world and the financial crisis and all these different things. The one thing that's always pushed humanity forward is technology. And that's the exciting thing to me this is bigger than the internet or mobile. And obviously it's built off those things, so they're correlated, but this is like the biggest thing that's happened in our lifetime. And it does give me optimism for what the future could look like. Because I agree. I think that this type of stuff can take, a lot of the mundane tasks. There's a really cool thread about how ChatGPT saved someone's dog. Like, there's going to be so many cool examples. And if that comes to fruition with robots and all these other things, like what human beings will spend their time on for work, I think will look a lot different and be much more entertainment-based, service-based. I think the need for human interaction and the socialization will be where people are spending more and more time versus kind of where they're spending time now on some of this mundane work. So to me, there's a really, really bullish and exciting future, but there's also a lot of scary things that could happen as well. So I don't know. It's fascinating.
You guys have, I definitely want to listen to the podcast you recommended, Pete, and like outside of the Thread Bros, are there any good resources that you guys have come upon for tutorials and stuff? Because I even know like when I was trying to troubleshoot how to use ChatGPT, like even the YouTube content was pretty sparse at the time as far as it. So I'm just curious, Andy, are you just like hacking it together, trial and error, or has there been a baseline stuff that you've learned from?
Some stuff that a lot of the best stuff I've seen has been on Twitter, honestly, of just like some of those sweet threads. A lot of them are shit, but if I see one that seems interesting, I'll just bookmark it and go back to it. Let me see. I think I bookmarked one yesterday. Here we go. So this one, I'll post it in the private chat because I don't know how to share in the regular chat. But this one was really good, and it was titled "ChatGPT prompts to finish hours of work in seconds." And it's very thorough, explains what it's doing, all of that. I thought this one was really helpful. Kind of helps with like how to lay out a prompt and different things that you can ask.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of find stuff like this and I'll bookmark it and go through it.
Yeah. Even having some like more general heuristics like this, objective, format, target audience, tone, just even knowing how to, because it is crazy, like how even just a slight tweak in language can, drastically change its output.
Yeah. Yeah. It makes such a big difference. Even like the littlest thing.
All right. I'm going to post, I'll post these in the chat for anyone else who is like me and curious to go down this rabbit hole. We got Eric in the chat also co-stamping the Baresi, I believe is his name, one of theirs. So there you go. AI eating the world. You guys want to draft a dance team or a daily team on here before we get out of here?
Yeah, let's do it.
Should we do a daily one here, Andy? We can get your guys' thoughts on that and then finish up with a dance or something.
Yeah, I'm down. I've already maxed my dailies, so this is my daily number 151.
So, and I assume, Andy, that was you set your ranks and then autopiloted those?
Yeah, so the way that I've been doing it, and it's kind of evolving. I wish I had started earlier in the season. I'm really excited for NFL and next season. Fuck, I'm even like looking at some MLB stuff, which is not good. I can't even name 5 baseball players.
Influencer 101.
Love to see it. Oh, we got some Chads in here. Shout out to Sam Olsen. Fucking
Sam is a crusher.
Yeah. So the way that I've been doing it is I'll do around 30 drafts in the morning, purely based on my own projections before any other sites, any other like, ETR or Stochastic or any of the bigger projection sites come online. And so I have my own stuff. And then as projections come online throughout the day, I basically will just aggregate and kind of merge my own projections with whatever's live. With some, I don't follow it 100% because, sometimes, I'm projecting, like earlier today, I was projecting Jaren Jackson Jr. as like number 5 overall, but he was going at like 14. And so I wasn't always taking him at that high because, you can get him later. But
is Tatum the clear 101 tonight?
Yeah, he's been 101 all day.
Okay, let's do it. Any other spicy takes for the slate tonight? I mean, what Tuesday?
Yeah, so
how
there's
many
actually,
games do we have?
there is a good chunk. I'm not sure how many, but it's a decent amount.
I think
Doesn't
it's
actually say on there.
6 tonight
Weird.
or
Okay.
so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like 6 or 7 games. Siakam second overall is a crazy choice.
Salty.
So yeah, there's definitely been some big movers because of injuries. So SGA is out tonight, and so he was going at like 3 third overall, and then Jimmy Butler is also out, and for a while he was going at like 9. So those have been big, and then John Morant is out, and Jarrett Allen, and so a lot of the Cavs players, Grizzlies, Miami, and Oklahoma City are all they've been all creeping up throughout the day. John wants to know how much Kelly Oubre I have. Let me see. It's
Butler was a big one.
It's way too much. Yeah, Butler was huge.
Oubre seems kind of doubtful though, from what I've been reading into today.
Yeah, but you can get him late, and so you can swap.
Right, so it's about to swap him. Right, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, he projects like crazy.
Yeah, last pick is fine.
I think I've asked you this before, but Andy, there's zero correlation stuff you think about with NBA, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there is probably like a good case to be made that you don't want to draft like 3 players from the same team,
right?
Or like two guards from the same team. But I think like basically most of the correlation comes out in the projections based on like the real correlation you're going to get is just like the game script and like the game total and pace. And like that stuff is all already kind of factored in and being a part of the conversation when it comes to ADP. So I don't really care too much about correlation when it comes to this.
I get sniped on FEV. What do we like?
So this is nice. So you have Giddey. So Giddey projects really well because SGA is out. And so happy with that. And then the guy who's projecting really, really well, who's still there, is Bam. Bam, his ADP right now is 14, but I have him as the 8th player on my board, just because again his with Jimmy Butler out.
Okay, so we're getting 2 big usage guys: SGA, Giddey usage up, Jimmy out, Bam usage up.
Yeah, exactly. And then like Bane as well is another guy where his ADP it's been going up all day. I have him at 13 right now, and he started the day at like 19 and he's just kind of crept up all throughout the day.
Yeah. Nice. And I did this. I shouted out on Best Ball Breakfast on Monday, but shout out to Crutches, had back-to-back takedowns in the Underdog Daily Streets last week, and then our guy Mike Zakarian from Team Hold won. I believe it was Saturday night. So just
Dude, the
everybody,
Badge Bros
right.
chat. Shout
Yo.
out to I don't know how to say his name, Uaneo or something like that. He's also a
Yeah.
Badge Bros chat guy. He won last
Took it out
night.
last night.
Yeah.
I was sitting in first place until 11:30 last night. I was, but it was too good to be true.
John, to
Fell all the
answer
way
your
down.
question, I have 43% Kelly Oubre tonight.
That's so. Where did you finish up, Clay, after being in first for a little bit?
Way too far down. It looked good at 11:30, but I was like, I got the late night hammer. Yeah, it's how it goes. So it didn't end up being much, but it was fun. Enjoy to see my name up there for a good part of the night.
Yeah, and I'll iterate it
Everyone's
once again. If you're drafting these dailies and you're not in there's 3 levels to it: Deposit Kingdom Discord, Badge Bros channel, Hoops thread. That's where the goodness takes place. All the takedown winners are in there. So what should we be looking at for this 4-5 turn here, Andy?
Yeah, let's see. So this is where it starts to get a little bit weird. So this is why I have 43% Kelly Oubre. I have Kelly Oubre so you're not going to take him right now. You're going to hope he slips. He won't in this draft with a bunch of red badges. But Paolo, if you can get him, is great. But I doubt he gets to you. Tyus Jones is great.
I don't like Banchero's matchup tonight. Like he'll have Brooks on him, right? Like I started to point it's all value, but like that scares me a little bit.
Yeah.
If Brooks got the clamps on him, he's not showing an incredible ceiling. So it's like he's got a decent floor. But you see, if you're like game log watching, I think his last game was he only had like 20 or something. A 20 spot.
So let's see.
Normally he'd be a great pick there, but Brooks scares me. There's just like certain guys like Herb Jones and Brooks. They're guys I like to avoid.
So this is where like
if I can.
I have personally been getting pretty hard off of ADP. You could take Capella because we're about to run out of time, but I would draft Kelly Oubre here.
I want the Andy experience. If Andy has 43%, I got to get me some Oubre here.
Which it's a little ridiculous, but I think he was the best player left on the board.
Okay. We got John is touting Denny in the chat here.
Yeah, Denny is pretty high up for me as well. I also like some of the other Orlando guys. So you have and the other guy who's high for me is Dennis Smith Jr.
Okay, we ended up with Denny there with our indecision, but what I'm hearing is that it's pretty flat in this area.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. So there's basically a cutoff of when am I willing to draft Kelly Oubre, and then afterwards. And so it tends to be like after you get down to like Tyler Hero, PJ Washington, at like 22, 23 ADP, and then it's very flat after that.
I'm definitely on. I like Dennis Smith Jr. a lot today, especially if Oubre's out. I think he's going a lot. I've seen a lot in this 6th round. I've been taking him in the 5th, and then there's a couple of guys. I'm with John Fultz has been a nice pick for me today in the last round. And then we'll see how this plays out. But I have another kind of spicy pick today on a guy who has some good upside in a matchup on a back-to-back that I don't hate for him. So
have there been any like macro themes to the takedown winners recently? I'm always thinking of like the NFL stuff. It'd be like, oh, the overstacking meta is in right now. Is it guys getting insane value and forming super teams? Is it just hitting the right combos? Is there any through line to what the takedown winners have been doing?
It's been so chaotic lately in the NBA. There's been a lot of Q tags not playing and things like that. It's really hard to say, honestly. There's definitely nothing as far as like game stacks or anything kind of in that sense. I would say one thing that like generally tends to be true, but there are outliers, is like typically if someone is really reaching for a player, they're not like you're not normally seeing someone who's drafted like multiple players 10 picks ahead of ADP. But yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty I'm pretty set on there not really being
I haven't noticed anything
massive
for what it's
kinda-
worth.
And is
It
it
seems to be just
still
like good swaps, like people getting like either like setting good swap rankings or like getting a little bit lucky on the swaps as well. Because you see some, especially the last couple nights, see some like funny, not funny stuff, but just like there's this wide range of where a player like Luka is getting swapped into. Whether it was like somebody's like second pick or the sixth pick,
Yeah.
or
So
other things or swaps that worked out
I
well.
like Wendell Carter here a little more than Franz Wagner.
okay?
But both of them get the job done. I know, Clay, you said you had a spicy guy.
It was Trey Murphy. That's who I took. That's my spicy 6th-round pick tonight.
Love it.
So
good
Andy,
stuff.
with
Jack,
your
I see. Oh, go ahead. Pete.
Andy, with your extension, you're able to it's just automatically drafting for you essentially, right?
Well, so the drafting, it's not like doing any elegant drafting. Basically, you're just drafting against your own rankings. All it is
Yep.
is basically in order to enter 150 like of the same tournament and turn it onto auto draft, it's like 6 button clicks per tournament. And like if you add up all the time, it's probably like 15 minutes a day or so, maybe more, of like just pressing enter and going through all of it. And so it's literally just like after you have set your rankings, you press the button and it'll automatically enter all the entries for you.
It's more about regging, Pete. It's not like an
Yeah.
autopilot thing, I think.
Yeah. Although I have been trying to think about whether or not I can use ChatGPT to make my own auto drafting Chrome extension.
But what would be,
That starts to get to the level of like feeling kind of gross, to be honest.
But what would be if you're already drafting off of ranks and there's an autopilot mode? What would that be doing extra from that?
It would be like setting some rules.
Correlation.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, like I think there definitely aren't like requirements as far as stacking and stuff goes, but there probably are some benefits of like, hey, I don't want SGA, Jalen Williams, and Josh Giddey all on the same team.
Right.
Yeah. So my co-host on Lowell's Brick 75 with he has built one and he has a loose one too for being able to have some structural drafting constraints for like he has like a 0 RB setting where you can say I don't take any running backs through 5 rounds and stuff. So it's coming. The stuff like that is fast.
Oh, so is it like a Chrome plugin?
It is, but what his thing, he had a hard time. You have to like do the like upload via developer tools. Is that how yours is too?
Yeah.
Yeah, because like nothing's going to actually get approved in the Chrome store. Yeah, that's what his is as well, and that's what he was using for like just overlaying like your exposures and stuff last year. But he's been messing with that for
like actual auto drafting.
Yeah.
What's his Discord? I want to talk to him.
He's in mine. I'll connect you guys.
Yeah, I just meant his handle.
Yeah, Brick 75. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, because I've been wanting to mess around with it for MLB and NFL, where I don't think you can just draft by ADP. I think that the stacks do matter a lot more. And
especially MLB. Yeah, Andy, I'm trying to degen on some MLB too, so I'm happy to wait in those streets with you.
And Jack, I mean, if the people just want to blast off, did I see you just had about 8 pick'em slips on Twitter?
Everyone thinks I'm a fucking degenerate. It's insane. Oh, I did throw a little more than I meant to there. I just put out a standard amount. I've been using ETR's projections. They've been fantastic projections. And, I'm not a super high EV player, but I like to be well informed, and I like to, it's all about the sweat, as I learned.
I like how you have themes to your pick'em slips. You have the value hounds.
Yeah, you like. By the way, I named. Yeah. Well, like the stock market is the fact that the fucking stock market hit the first time on a pick 5 was like. I mean, as a creator, that's gold. But we went 4 for 5 last night, and it's just electric because it's the 0.5. So even with like 1 minute left in the game, you can talk yourself into like, well, he could get it on this way, and it's a great name. So yeah, it's just a mini block market tonight, given that there's only 6 games on the slate. There wasn't a lot of value across the association.
All right, we can wrap up. I got time to do one dance and then I got to run, but I am never going to pass on squeezing in another dance draft here.
You're
I
hooked.
haven't
yeah.
drafted any yet.
Oh, they're
Really?
Do
fun.
you think? What do you guys think? I know historically you could get better value drafting ahead of time, but with the conference so fucked up, like I just feel like waiting for me, like the East is pretty locked, but I don't know. I feel like
There we go. Goddamn, look at this room.
Look at this room right here. Crutches,
Oh.
Rammy, Clay, Gypsy, and DP.
Sheesh. Pete, your stream last Friday with everyone was fantastic. Like I really
Yeah, I'm
enjoyed
bummed I
that.
missed that.
Oh yeah, that's a good plug. If you guys are looking to get in the dance streets, we had the Badge Bros, Mike Zakarian, John Boy Beats on, and just talked for like an hour and a half, strategy, concepts, teams we like, all of that good stuff. So you can check that on the channel. And yeah, bummed to not have you on there, Andy.
I'll be down again. Maybe once we get a little bit closer and people start really adding some liquidity to these entries.
When is this lock? Is it lock on the like after the play-in or before the play-in?
Before play-in, I believe, even though play-in is not included.
Excluding
Is that correct?
What's it? Does it say the date for it closes on there? It should somewhere, right? It fills.
Closes 4:15 at
4:15.
2:30.
That's
There you go.
Oh shit! Yeah.
But Jack, to answer your question, I mean, just in general, it's like the same thing as like the Best Ball Mania, right? Where you'll probably be able to get some combos that you might not otherwise get, but you're gonna have more landmines, right? Like how many people took Luka and Kyrie in this 2-3 turn and now are massively regretting that?
Yeah.
Real quick, that is after the playing games though, just for what it's worth.
It is.
Like, that's when the
Play-in.
playing games start on the 11th because our NFTLA party will be on the 12th, that Wednesday. Just there's a little alpha for y'all.
But I do think I brought that up on Friday where I wonder if people, just because the Western Conference is just such a shit show that people are just like, to me, like I'm not in the weeds on it, so it doesn't like really matter to me if I torch an entry on a team that doesn't make it. I don't really care. But I understand why that's not fun for some people.
That's not fair for everyone else, but
But like, think about it too. We talked about it where some team could like move up and you'll never have access to that combo. I'm so sick of this 6 spot here where it's just like Jaylen Brown and Booker looking
Which
at me.
second best player do you want?
I know.
Yeah, it's a lot harder to get Durant and Booker together, I've noticed, in the ones I've been doing the last
I mean,
week
if
or
you want to
so.
let Booker slip to me, Pete, I'll take it. You don't have to.
No, I'm
grab
just going to
it.
try to
don't
push
do it.
myself out of my
no.
comfort zone.
Oh,
yeah.
no.
Sorry,
let's
Clay.
go. Beautiful.
That was one of my big takeaways from the Friday stream is I like to anchor an East team and then pick some studs from the West since it is such the wild, wild West, all pun intended.
Yeah.
And then the other big is let me make this pick real quick, but I can't remember who on the stream brought this up, but I hadn't necessarily considered the strategy element of more bigs in a draft like this because I am kind of anchored from preseason best ball where you only were counting one big, but with the 2 flex spots, that was really fascinating to think like you could get points from 3 bigs in this contest, and that with how like the FanDuel style scoring works, that was a big takeaway.
Because I think like if you have a stud that you take in the first round and they go to the NBA Finals, I feel like you could even get away with a 1 at a position.
Yeah, you could. Theoretically.
And just saying like, hey, they are going to be the ones filling my spot. Obviously, you probably need some 6-7 game series, need to avoid the sweeps. But I'm just saying like how you allocate your draft capital. To your point, Clay, there's so much flexibility with this roster setting.
It definitely makes for a fun tournament style. Like I'm appreciating that a lot.
Rammy, it has the Denver Bucks going. Clay throws in the Kings with his Golden State. And isn't there a chance Golden State plays the Kings right now as a matchup, which could be fun?
Jennings,
like everyone plays each other except for
True.
Denver and Memphis are like the one team, you know.
I'm not putting too much stock in the West right now, like seeding.
Who's your MVP after last night?
Jokic, baby. Oh,
I'm so sad it
I wish
beat
the
set,
Nuggets
man.
would have covered.
So sad. So sad.
Yeah, that was brutal. No cover.
No, gosh, I had a bunch. Yeah. Oh, that was frustrating. Up 19, and then they win by 5.
Yeah.
That's gross.
I
was really sad that Embiid did not play. I was looking forward to that showdown. I had a lot of
Do you think
Embiid.
that was an overreaction in the MVP market, or you really think that was the right move?
What do you mean?
I think overreaction.
Like that
that
Jokic
Jokic
is
passed
now
Embiid
even.
as a
Yeah,
favorite.
he's even or a small favorite to win MVP just because he didn't play. Like he moved before the game even happened.
I think it was overreaction.
I thought it was an overreaction personally,
I did too.
but the amount of games Embiid has missed is starting to creep up, and so I think that's probably the one thing to consider. There is just
Well, they're talking about this like the one game he would miss.
Yeah, I was listening to maybe it was Bill Simmons' podcast, maybe it was KOC and Chris Vernon, and they were saying that I think it was them that since like the fucking 70s or something in full length seasons, only one MVP ever has played less than 70 games, and Embiid's currently at 68 games played. If you were to play everything out, and so I did think that was interesting, as far as like a reason that you would dock him.
I don't think it was a huge overreaction just because there's a couple factors that are really important. The games played, like you mentioned, and then record, I think, really matters. And what's happened recently and what kind of swung the odds originally was the Sixers were playing really well and the Nuggets played really badly. Now the Nuggets have been playing better and look, they're going to get the 1 seed and they have a better record than the Sixers. Yeah. So I think because it's so close this year, a lot of voters are going to look at stuff like that. And I mean, Jokic also had a triple-double in 3 quarters again, which is, not unusual for him, but just kind of shows how ridiculous he's been offensively. Yeah, it'll come down to some of the defensive stuff too. But like the on-off metrics for Jokic are just so ridiculous. I think he deserves it again.
Wow,
it's really close. You can make an argument for Embiid and Giannis too, but Giannis is, I think, not going to get it.
Giannis is the best player ever.
So he was making the argument. Some clip I saw about like Giannis and how like the stat he has of like averaging like 30 points a game for the amount of games he played this year, and like how that equates to, like the record for the Bucks. Like he would be like one of the only players since like 1962 to not win the MVP in a season which they held that category. Has been like one of like 6 players ever, and all the recent ones since 1962 have won the MVP, which was compelling. But it's like, yeah, he's not even in the conversation this year in a real way.
I mean, he's there. They've just decided that it's Jokic versus Embiid.
Narrative-wise, yeah, narrative-wise. What about Dallas? Like, is anyone still
what's
on Dallas making it?
No, they fucking suck.
No, they suck. Yeah, I mean, they could definitely make the 10 seed. Like they're only
they could make it, but their roster isn't good, and those two are not ideal for each other. That's crazy. Kyrie's being drafted next to Malcolm Brogdon as guards 16 and 17.
Lillard shut down for the season while we were on this, by the way.
I did see that.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, get your
I really hope Wembanyama goes there. I hope Portland somehow gets the 1 seed. Just be so great to see that happen. Give Dame a championship.
Yeah. Seriously.
I mean, he's got to stop running from the grind by not running from the grind. Like, just give up the loyalty.
What does that even mean, Jack?
just it's like his cop out. It's his cop out at this. Like, oh, I'm so loyal. I'm just gonna collect 60 million and be uncompetitive for 48% of my career. I don't blame him. He
just keeps getting better.
No, he does. But at some point, right? Like, he should have the right to say, yeah, I don't want to be part of this shit show organization, or do something. Like, since they went to the Western Conference Finals, like, what moves did they make? I tried.
I mean, they traded CJ McCollum. They brought in Jeremy Grant. They keep trying to move things around. It's just,
you wouldn't run that trade back? That sounds like an awful trade.
It's like moving like shit around the toilet bowl. Like, oh,
wow. Maybe I should bring my cousin on and you can tell this to his face.
I mean, look, he can surely make one call, end up at the Mecca, best backcourt in basketball. They'll build a statue for him. Tell you that.
I think the Pelicans are the most undervalued team right now, ADP wise in this draft. Or in
I was
tournament.
gonna ask that. Who are the players you draft if you're playing the Pelicans to make it in and like take a series to 7?
You want
Zion.
BI and CJ McCollum and Zion the flyer if he comes back in time. Yeah, that's the flyer.
They're not going 7 without him.
Yeah, that's the thing is it's basically a bet that Zion comes back and is healthy.
Okay.
So you might as well take Zion at that point.
But he's probably
I think
he's his last round.
the better team to go after right now, which people are starting to get on, and one thing I've been doing for a while, unfortunately people are catching on, is Minnesota. I think Minnesota to make a run.
I've been banging the Minnesota drum for a while. I was even drafting Cat.
And you can get Gobert with your last pick. Towns has been free for a while.
Peter, you're on the clock, by the way. 5 seconds.
Where's Ant go?
Sorry, I've been drafting in two drafts here. And then going on my Minnesota rant.
I got him 90 to 1 before
really
the win
depends.
streak to win the
Ant's
West.
flown up the board in the last week. I was like out of pocket drafting over the weekend, and I came back and he was like exponentially higher. It felt like.
What about Jaden McDaniels? Get your Jaden McDaniels shares, fellas.
Man, this is
Yo,
it's getting
Austin
close
Reeves.
out here.
If you're drafting Lakers, you
No.
gotta take
D'Angelo over Austin Reeves, right?
Oh yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Come on.
All right,
Oh,
I'm
You
doing
should
it.
get your
Oh my
Emmanuel
God,
quickly
sniping.
shares. Get your
Did I snipe
IQ
you?
shares in
Yeah, I was
ASAP.
building. I had BI and CJ. It's all good.
My bad. Sorry, I just
all
got a
good.
little.
Could you imagine
Zion.
how wealthy I'd be if the Top Shot market was correlated to on-court play with Emmanuel Quickly? I mean, I would be in Malibu right now.
Literally
God
an
damn
evergreen
it.
statement. If the Top Shot market was correlated to anything,
How about buying up the Nikola Jokic before all the
Yeah.
MVPs and being down on his cosmics? I mean, can you imagine?
he literally could win the MVP for the next 10 years straight, and you'd still be underwater.
I'm still underwater.
Speaking of that, did you guys see what happened yesterday? It was pretty funny with Top Shot.
No.
So Rare has been spending with the NBA. So on Twitter, like before a highlight plays, they'll play like a 5-second ad. And then they like, I guess, upgraded or deepened their partnership where it's like these, the top NBA plays of the week assists are presented by So Rare. And then last night, the sponsorship, the phrasing they used was your top moments of the week presented by So Rare. Like they even lost the fucking moment. They lost that, which is mind-boggling.
They're getting cucked on the word moment.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
I guess they're gonna have to start calling them momes again. That's how you win it back. All right, I gotta get running, but this was fun as always. Great to have the whole crew here. Clay, Andy, Lamar Jackson's agent, CSU Ram. Again, congrats, Pete, on the new addition.
Congrats,
Oliver is incredibly cute. We are here every single Tuesday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. If you guys want to talk dailies, underdog, draft strategy, definitely recommend hopping into the Deposit Kingdom Discord, getting in those Badge Bros channels. Appreciate you all. Have a great week. And next week, ChatGPT will be hosting the show for us. So that'll be wonderful. See you guys then.